What do brown rice, salt, incense, and, well, a rattle have to do with anything? How are they all connected? Well, as I discovered in my filming of my research rather, for the grounding and centering crystals, these are all secondary means of cleansing your crystals. So I'm gonna kind of show you what you would do. So I don't have a singing bowl, so pretend this is my singing bowl. So now so there are two options here that would correspond to the element of air. You have sound, or you have smoke, which would the incense kind of goes along with your smudging. And basically what you do is, so you have two options. You can, in our pretend singing bowl, you can take crystals, put them in the bowl, and then you would sing the bowl, whee, and the sound would cleanse the crystals from within the bowl. If you don't want to do that, you can take the crystals and then sing the bowl around the crystals. So you can sing it near them and then the sound will purify them. Now another thing you can do is you can drum, or you can, I apologize in advance if any of you dislike the sound of a rattle. I only have a free hand because I'm holding the camera with the other. So you can take it and then rattle over the crystals and hope that, the sound will eventually cleanse the crystals. Now another option that you have is incense. So what kind of incense? Well, they make like sage incense. They make Palo Santo incense that I don't have. You can check for cedar, which is another one. You can check for, oh, I had a whole list and I forgot to write them down. So you can use dragon's blood, because I have seen sage sticks mixed with dragon's blood. You can use lavender as well. Now what you would do, same deal as if you were smudging. So you would take your incense stick, light it, and then let the smoke kind of waft over your crystals. These aren't lit, obviously. I'm just demonstrating. So if you have a cone incense, what you would probably do is take your crystal and then just wave it through the smoke from the cone. If you want to turn it around, make sure you, oops, and promptly drop it. Turn it around, make sure it's properly cleansed all around, and then that's, basically how you would use those. It's essentially like a smudge. I would not recommend smudging your house with incense, because you'd go through a lot of incense. But it is good if you want to maybe just freshen up a room, or you just want to make things smell nice. If you want to use it for an offering on an altar or in front of a saint or a statue, that also works really well. Incense is really great for that. Now, these other two, I actually had really mixed feelings on. Please ignore the laundry in the background. I didn't think to move it. The brown rice and the salt, I was originally kind of on, because I'm like, it can potentially be very wasteful, but it will depend, I think, on what you're doing. So if you want to take like a small amount and like a little bowl like this and just do a couple of crystals, or even if you want to leave it for a while, that seems like it would work better that way. If you just wanted to fill up your little bowl with salt and then just put your crystals in and let it sit on the salt. I did not prep anything because I don't traditionally use salt for cleansing my crystals, and I was not about to do it here because I really didn't want to waste it. Because basically what you're going to do is you're going to throw it out once you're done. So you can leave it for, maybe a week or two. If you want to leave it for a month, I'm going to leave that up to you. It will really depend too on the environment you live in. It's been hot and humid up here, and I know what salt will do is it will just kind of clump and get really moist. It will absorb the moisture. It may eventually disintegrate. So, you might start out with this and then end up with like half of this. You could probably use a bowl maybe like this if you wanted. I would not recommend, unless you're using, I wouldn't recommend a bowl like this. That's just a lot of salt. So yeah, so but that made sense to me if you're gonna use it for a while, you know, not just one and done type of thing. I did want to mention something about the incense. So there's a brand like this that are, oh, there's still a glare. I purposely moved out here because when I tried filming this before, there was a horrendous glare on the bag. Okay. So there is this brand of incense that is dedicated to the archangels, and it also is in Spanish on the back. And this is still around, so if you wanted to look up this specific brand, you can. There are also sets that are denoted to the 7 archangels as well, and each one has their own individual scent, which is good. Like if you're working on protection crystals, you can use Michael. If you're working on communication crystals, you can use Gabriel. If you're a healer and you've got stuff that you use for healing, or you have your own healing crystals that you use on yourself, you can use Archangel Raphael. You know, if you are trying to shift your mood and you're trying to focus on the happy things in life, and you've got crystals that are geared for that, you can use Jathiel. So in this respect, it's really good. If you wanted to try that as well. You also might find, now I've only seen this at Renaissance fairs, I don't know, you might be able to find it at like a New Age store. Individual makers or people that make their own incense might do something like a spirit scent or something along those lines. You can always pick that up as well and use that to cleanse your crystals. That's really up to you. Okay, now back to salt. So if you can use regular old table salt, you can use kosher salt, you can use sea salt, rock salt. I say rock salt, but I'm also picturing like the salt you put in a purifier for a well, and that's not what you want to use. So rock salt is usually used for oh god, words, I have them and today they're not coming. That's used for ice. That's what I'm thinking of. So maybe not use that. But you know, table salt, kosher salt, sea salt, Himalayan salt. That one's usually, I don't think you're gonna find an overabundance of black salt. Black salt is usually used for other stuff, but just plain old whatever. Brown rice, same deal. You know, you put it, probably better off in a bowl like this, or you know, a bowl like this. If you're going to be using brown rice, same thing, you know, you throw it out once you're done. So you throw your crystals in, you let it sit on the pile of rice. Same deal. I was not about to bust open a bag of brown rice for this. Now, I've seen it's supposed to be like the loose brown rice, so not obviously boil in a bag, but that's all I had on hand. And then you would let your, you know, crystals sit. I think the recommended time might be maybe 2 or 3 hours, depending. Maybe with the rice you can go a little longer. Same deal, you know, if you want to do a one and done, you can do a small bowl, like one of these. If you're going to do a bunch, do a bigger bowl. And it's going to really be up to you how long you want to leave this for, how long you want to use it for. Only thing is, same thing with rice as opposed to... No, not as opposed to. Rice is going to do the same thing as salt. If you're in a really humid environment, it's going to absorb the water, it's going to absorb the humidity in the air, and it will eventually kind of break down. Now, it did mention brown rice, so I don't know if brown rice will react differently to the moisture in the air than white rice. So that could be why this is suggested. So, you know, I'm going to leave that up to you. I assume if you have a lot of white rice, you might be able to use that as well. So this is, you know, these are just alternative methods. They weren't as common as some of the other ones. You know, it's really up to you. Whatever works for you, whatever is in your wheelhouse, whatever sounds good. And it's whatever you have on hand too. Like, you know, with the price of food and whatnot, I was really reluctant on these two. But if you're going to just set it and leave it for like, I would say, you know, a couple weeks, even a month might be pushing it depending, but in the cold months you might be able to get away with it, then it's worthwhile. if, you know, if it appeals to you, because the thing is you do have to throw it out. Like you take something like malachite, malachite's got copper in it, so you're not going to want to be eating, you know, you're not going to want to be eating this. Same deal with the salt, you're not going to want to be using it in your food, and I don't think you really want to be using it in any rituals, because the whole point is to withdraw negative energy and not, you know, sprinkle the salt that's accumulated the negative energy around. So, but hey, the more you know, right? Alright, so hopefully you will find this helpful and interesting. I apologize that I didn't think to, you know, move stuff out of the way that you can see stuff in the background like laundry, but hey, it is what it is. I work with what I have. Alright, take care, my friends, and until we meet again, bye.